There we go. Let's start that again. I'm Jim. Welcome to your Monday morning cup of cyber. I was saying that my cup of illy coffee is wrapped up in a Salt Lake City, Utah mug as we get started for the week. It's been a crazy weekend. Wonderfully warm weather on Saturday, and then Sunday was a bit rainy and stormy, and not so that's terrible, but not beautiful. So that's how it was out here in Virginia. How is it where you're at? That's what I'd like to know. This week should be good. We're going to kick off and keep going on with our Security Plus Domain 1. We're coming close to the end of this thing. There is so much packed into Domain 1 that it's taken a bit to get through it. So today we're going to jump in. We're going to talk about threat actors or types of people that would be attacking your organization. But first of all, it's May the 4th. Anybody, if you're going to be in the computer field, you need to know that it is Star Wars Day, May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Kind of a play on May the Force be with you, of course. Disney is releasing, I think, a show today, movie. You'll have to check that out and see what it is. It's a bit of a surprise. Maybe we'll talk about it later. What is it that Disney is releasing today? Throw a comment down below if you think you know what it is. What is it that Disney's releasing today on May the 4th? That's going to be crazy. We did have our trivia night, our first trivia night last Friday. Great fun. Would love to see you. We're going to do another one. We're going to do another trivia night this Friday coming up. Again, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to broadcast a little more, get a few more people in there. I think the more, the merrier, the more fun it's going to be. We ended up with, I think, 4 rounds of 10 questions. One being 10 questions on pictures, and one being 10 questions on acronyms. The other ones were just regular old questions. Threw a couple stumpers in there, and we'll do that again this week, so we'll see what you think about that. So join us. It'll be fun. Prove that you have the security chops to be the trivia champion for Cyber-Recon, second trivia night. Again, we'll be talking about Domain 1. We'll talk about more of the stuff around threats and attacks and that kind of stuff. Again, if you're going for the Security Plus exam, you need to know this stuff because it's about a quarter of the questions you're going to be asked are going to be on this single domain. Of the 6, this covers probably the largest portion of the question. So that's why we're hitting it so hard. That's why we're spending so much time here. That's why we're going through the study guide, or not the study guide, but the exam guide from CompTIA, and we're hitting every single topic on there. Every single topic we're going to cover, so make sure you stay with us. Hit the bell to be notified, especially if you want trivia night. Make sure you hit the bell. Like and subscribe. Send your friends over. Maybe you think they've got security chops. But let's jump in this morning. Let's talk about threat actors, and we're going to do it right after the quick little Cup of Cyber intro. So then we'll come back. We'll talk about threat actors. All right, I'm Jim, Cyber-Recon. We're here this morning. We're here right now. We're here to talk about Security Plus. We're talking about Domain 1, comparing, contrast types of attacks. And this morning, we're going to be talking about threat actors. So these are the folks that are going to come at your organization. They're going to try to attack your systems. They're going to try to get information from you. So you need to know different types of threat actors, their characteristics, and how you can prepare to defend against them. So if you're in a security role now, you're going to need to know these folks. You need to know who is coming at you, who your risks are coming from, and of course, for the test, you're going to have to know this. So let's jump into the slide deck. Let's look at what's going on here. We're going to compare and contrast types of attacks. And of course, in this first half of 1.3, it's only 2 parts in 1.3. First part, we're talking about the threat actors, and the second type, Second half of 1.3 is just attributes of these threat actors. So first, let's talk about them. Let's figure out who they are and what they're all about, and that will get us going. So first we'll start at and we're going to start at the bottom, and we're going to work our way to the top, right? What you should be worried about, and maybe the last one's not definitely at the top, but it's up there. So script kiddie. These are the folks that are kind of they're new to computer security. They're new to hacking. Maybe they've watched a few videos. Maybe they're for some reason they're motivated to come after you. And normally your organization will be a target of opportunity. What we call a target of opportunity. They're not particularly seeking you out. You just happen to come across their radar somehow. Maybe they're doing a search for something. Maybe you have an IP range that they just happen upon. Normally, they're not targeting you specifically. So Wikipedia says this in programming and let me try it again. Wikipedia says in programming and hacking cultures, a script kiddie or skiddy or skid is an unskilled individual who uses scripts or programs developed by others to attack computer systems and networks to deface websites such as web shell. It's generally assumed that most script kiddies are juveniles who lack the ability to write sophisticated programs or exploits on their own, and that their objective is to try to impress their friends or gain credit in computer enthusiast communities. However, doesn't relate to actual age of the participant. And of course, this is in hacking culture. It's considered derogatory to call someone a script kiddie. Skiddy and skid, I don't know that I've ever heard those, but maybe in certain circles you're seeing those names being used. So the thing about a script kiddie is they don't have the ability to write their own code. So they're going to go get code from the internet. They're really not going to know, in most cases, they're not going to know what that code does. They're going to read the article. They're going to read the write-up on the script that's out there. And more than likely, they're just going to download it and point it at your organization and fire it off. The funding for script kiddie is low. The skill level is low. They're kind of this is kind of the lowest level threat you have to worry about. But you have to worry about them because really they're going to grab any script off the internet that they think is going to work to do harm to your organization. So we do have to worry about them. Again, funding's low, skill level's low. They're not going to actively target your organization normally because they're just looking for targets opportunity. They want bragging rights. So maybe they're going to go for a bank or a government agency or a hospital, something. Generally it's not that focused. It's just they are trying to get their name recognized in whatever little community they're in. The next one is when we start actually focusing on a target, right? So the hacktivist, and again, Wikipedia is the definition we're using here. In internet activism, hacktivism or hacktivism, it's where we put hacking and activism together to make that name, is the use of computer-based techniques such as hacking as a form of civil disobedience to promote a political agenda or social change. With roots in hacker culture and hacker ethics, its ends often are related to free speech, human rights, or freedom of information movements, right? Used to be the hacktivists were not funded very well, but through the use of different things like GoFundMe things or social pages or groups that are like-minded, they have low to moderate funding. And sometimes they can get pretty good funding, but I would say their funding normally is low to moderate. Their skill is moderate to high because they are focused on making change. So they'll put the time in to learn stuff to better their ability to attack a system. So in this one, we have to worry because if you are, say, your organization is producing oil or something like that, and there's folks that are against that, there's going to be hacktivists coming after you. Most organizations, like government organizations, there's certain hacktivists after them. If you are doing forestry, there's hacktivists after them. Normally, any kind of big organization is going to have some type of hacktivism focused at them. So you got to remember, these guys have a political or social goal. They're going to go after targets that are against that goal they're going for. Um, so if you're trying to stop people from wearing fur coats, maybe you're going to go after people that make fur coats. That's the target you're going to go after. So in hacktivism, the target is actually targeted. And so we see that's a little different between the script kiddie. Script kiddie kind of targets of opportunity, low-hanging fruit, that kind of stuff. Hacktivist is definitely pointing at someone, trying to get to them. Again, Wikipedia definition, organized crime. Organized crime is a category of transnational, national, or local groups of highly centralized enterprises run by criminals to engage in illegal activity, most commonly for profit. Some criminal organizations, such as terrorist groups, are politically motivated. We're not going to worry about that. For organized crime, funding is high, skill level is normally high. Again, they're going to point at an organization, they're going to go after them. Normally, this is something like, it could be as simple as what we used to be physical shakedowns, right? So an organized crime, a crime organization may go after someone and request that they pay protection money to keep them from getting attacked on the internet. Again, just like, like the in the movies where somebody goes in the shop and says, hey, pay your protection money so you don't get your windows broken. The same thing is going on here. Organized crime may also be out to steal different types of intellectual property and resell that. And obviously, they're doing things like credit card fraud and that kind of stuff. So organized crime is just, they're a group of criminals that are organized to do illegal activities, a lot of times for profit. We see things like our crypto mining, where they'll get a bunch of computer bots, robot machines that have been infected, and use them for crypto mining, or crypto attacks where they lock up people's systems and you have to pay to get them back. All kinds of activities that can go on in organized crime. Just know, again, they're in it for usually profit, illegal activity, funding is high, skill level is high. Now we're getting to the what I consider kind of the top of the hacking food chain. This definition is from NIST. I always like to use NIST if I can, because that gives us a common lexicon as we're talking about this. So this is part of a larger definition from NIST. It's an adversary that possesses sophisticated levels of expertise and significant resources, which allows it to create opportunities to achieve its objectives by using multiple attack vectors, including, for example, cyber, physical, and deception. In this case, we're talking about extremely high funding and extremely high skill levels. These are nation states. This is a country or a group of people that is nation-sized or kind of have the same political goals. Normally, we think this as a country that brings its resources to bear against your organization. Nation states can be really bad. They can develop things like zero-day exploits, multiple chained zero-day exploits, very high skill levels, very high funding, and the ability just to stay on a target for a long time if they have to. They can put different pieces of malware on a system and leave them there for a very long time until they're needed. That's why we call them APTs, or Advanced Persistent Threats. From the external side, from folks coming from the outside, nation state is definitely the kind of the top of the food chain. Insiders, again, this definition, a threat that an insider will use his or her the threat that an insider will use his or her authorized access wittingly or unwittingly to do harm to the security of the United States. This threat includes damage to the United States through espionage, terrorism, disclosure, through degradation of departmental resources or capabilities. Funding varies because it's an insider threat. They could just be there picking up, information as an opportunity to do it, or they could be funded by some outside organization to get information about you, about your organization. The danger here is they are authorized to be there. They've got access already. Maybe they've got elevated access, like if they're an administrator. They know what the network looks like. They know what the IP space looks like. They know where the servers are, both physically and logically. They have the ability to put physical devices on network equipment or computers. I'm going to say the skill level's high because they know all that stuff. It's going to be a lot easier for them to attack your system than someone coming from outside because they know everything. And most of the time, they have permission to be there, and you've given them access to the places they're at. So again, you got to worry. This is one of the things we worry about, probably in the top, few things we worry about in an organization. Definitely in the top 10 is insider threat. We have to worry about insider threat. We do training, we have awareness campaigns, we do monitoring, we do all kinds of stuff to make sure we can calm down this insider threat, right? So the insider threat actor. And then finally, our competition or competitors. Business dictionaries, where I got this one, it was hard to find a good, succinct definition of competitors. Any person or entity is a rival against another, which is rival. So whoever, your competition, who's your competition? And this can be government organizations as well. If you are a government organization in the United States, there's probably competition for that same thing from kind of another organization outside the United States, right? So, for example, our Army and someone else's Army, they could be considered competitors. In the commercial world, it's a lot easier to think about this. Coke and Pepsi, right? They're competitors. Ford and Chevy are competitors, right? Funding usually high, skill level is high. They have the ability to wage long campaigns if they need to, and normally it's maybe it's to disrupt your organization's functions. Maybe it's to bring down your websites on the extreme sides. I'm not saying Coke and Pepsi are doing this to each other, but it is possible if that elevated there. We have to worry about that, and sometimes it's just theft of information, intellectual property. So these are your biggest threat actors. What we're going to call what this is what CompTIA calls the people that are coming at you, the threat actors. So I'm Jim. As always, please like and subscribe and tell your friends and hit the bell to be notified. And we will see you next time. Be safe out there, and we'd love to see you for Trivia Night, Friday, 7 p.m. East Coast time. Be there. Let's see your security chops, man. Let's see who's the top king or queen of security trivia. So be safe out there. See you next time.